Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Panda, and today we're doing a bit of a shorter video. Today I just kind of want to have a conversation with everybody about a particular topic, the topic being really what it is a single phrase. Is your art good enough? And it's a question that I've been questioning myself a lot more recently, and a question that always pops into my head once in a while, just understanding that my art isn't always going to be the most appealing thing to me. And I guess to answer that question is an individual sort of thing for every individual to have to respond to themselves. Nobody can answer that question just on their own. Nobody can ask someone else to answer that question for them, because to other people my art could look great, or to other people my art could look like trash. It's not a question of what other people think, it's at the point of what I think my art is like. And really the only answer that you can find, that you have to answer, is, do you enjoy your art? That's the only question that you really should be answering, is, do you think you make good fundamentals? Do you think you like the style of coloring? Do you like the style of this and that? And then the other question is, do you think your art is consumable? And that second question is much harder than the first, because, for a lot of people, you could just sit there and go, I love painting bananas. I love painting bananas so much, and I love painting bananas every single day, and I love painting bananas every different style of every single way, and every different art style, and every different medium, and that's what you do. But the other question for a lot of artists, because it's not just about, for a lot of people, is my art good enough to me? It's, would other people buy my art? Because for some people it's for fun. Drawing is for fun. It's just a fun thing to do, and that's as far as it goes. But there are people, I'm one of those included, that think to themselves, okay, this art isn't looking bad, but is it at the level where I think I would buy this? And that's kind of the bigger concern in someone's mind. Is my art good enough? Is my art good enough that I would want to buy it myself? And it's the same thing for any sort of medium. If you're making a children's book, is this book getting the message across? Is this book's art, getting the result that I'm looking for? Is this piece of, is this comic appealing to people? Is this t-shirt design gonna be profitable? Because there's an element of enjoyment to art that no one can take away from you. Because if you just draw because you enjoy drawing it, sure, that's always a great place to be. But for me, a huge piece of it is just, I personally want to make art that is consumable. I want to make art that makes other people feel. I want to make art that other people want to look at. And I feel like that's where I'm struggling the most, because there's ways to determine if it's consumable or not. One of those ways is just purely looking around at the market already and seeing what clearly is or isn't marketable. There's artwork that works and there's artwork that doesn't. And just because it's artwork that isn't necessarily what everybody likes doesn't mean it's not consumable. But I think a big way to understand whether your art is good enough is still a personal question. It's not a question anybody else can answer for you. It's not a question that your friends can, your teachers. Nobody can answer this question but you. Because honestly, most people who have a line of what works and what doesn't work are people who are already being profitable at what they're doing. And I see it all the time, Twitter artists, Instagram artists, people off of DeviantArt, people who are most successful are typically people who don't look at themselves every day and go, is my art good enough? They go, is this piece good enough to sell to other people? The thought in their head isn't, is this good enough to me? It's, is it good enough that other people will give me money for it, consume it, want to look at it again, like this character, want me to redraw this character. There's so many other questions going through people's head who are already profitable in art. And I feel like that's a huge misgiving that some people have when they're drawing, because some people have a really clean background and understanding how character design works, and understanding in color theory, and understanding in shading and lighting and directional patterns and perspective and everything like that. And that's great for them. And I encourage anybody who's an artist to, study those things, because those are the fundamentals that are really going to get you far. But I feel like there are even people who don't have those fundamentals down, that just have an appealing art style to people. And that's where the gambit is, because there are people who do make art that isn't necessarily traditional and isn't necessarily full of, the foundations of what makes art good, quote unquote, but still see a lot of profit and a lot of success with their art. And that really is interesting to me, because at the end of the day, consumers are fickle. Consumers, people who consume art, you can see examples of what other people that you enjoy do and their success and how they get successful. Then you can emulate that in some sort of way, or not completely emulate it, but just at least look at what's successful to them and try to find a way to make it similar for you in making that success. I always feel like my art is at a level where I'm enjoying it, but it's not at a level where it's marketable. It's not at a level where it's consumable by the masses. It's mostly just art for me. And I feel like that's where I think I need to change at some point, because besides finding my voice and finding my style of art, I feel like at the end of the day, I need to start making art that is consumable. And that doesn't mean changing how my art is, and it doesn't mean changing, how I express myself with my art, but it does mean learning styles and techniques that make your art more of a marketable piece of material versus just a self-expressive kind of thing. Because making art for other people or making art consumable is different from making art that you enjoy. And I feel like there's a lot of difference between that, because there are people who just draw what they like and that is consumable already, so they don't have to change anything. But I feel like there is a level of interest for artists that have to make art consumable, and then they have art that they like, because there is a huge difference of, for instance, you go to any animator who worked on a big project, say DreamWorks, say How to Train Your Dragon, the television show. Someone from there doesn't draw that character on their free time. They don't just go over and over again drawing Hiccup or Astrid or anything like that in their free time, and their style certainly doesn't fit the model characters that was created for the show. They made consumable art, and then on Twitter in their free time they draw their own little pieces when they have the time. So it really does make a difference, because I think at the end of the day, what I'm missing the most about art is just the fact that art is a product, and I'm not making it a consumable product just yet. So I'm just in that middle phase of life where I'm trying to figure out ways to enhance what I'm doing to make it a marketable thing, to make it a sellable, merchandise kind of thing, because I want my art to succeed in every sort of way that I possibly can, and I want my art to succeed. To me personally, my success isn't hingent on other people liking my art, but it is hingent on the idea that what I draw will at least have some eyes on it. Because at the end of the day, this could be a hobby, this could be something that I just do in my free time, and I end up getting a normal job, and I end up doing something else, which of course I will be working an actual day job while I'm drawing. But if I can get it to the point where all I have to do is draw all day and drawing is what I do, then I think that would be one of the best case scenarios for me, because drawing is what I love to do. And I know there's a lot of argument for, well, if you do what you love as your job, then it just becomes your job and you don't want to do it in your free time. And that could be true. But I feel like at the end of the day, I personally think that if I could do the thing I love as my job, as much as there are going to be days where I would absolutely hate my job, I don't think for even a second that I would hate doing this as a job. I would cherish this as much as I can. I would make this my favorite thing to do every day, and I would just make it work.